Hey guys, it's Jenny Wolek with the Wolek Group, Keller Williams Realty in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am so grateful that you have decided to come back and watch another episode of Agent Success Secrets. And this time, my agent is actually a MAPS head coach, Mr. Dru Lee. Dru, thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with me and our viewers. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, it is a privilege. It's an honor to get to spend some time with you, as always. You know, anytime I get to spend with Jenny Wolek time, it's amazing.
Well, we go way back. I will let you do most of the talking through our session today. I do want to set you up, though, in sharing that you were a huge part of my early days of real estate success. You were I think I might get a little emotional here, and I actually have some tissues going on. You were my first bold coach, which if anyone knows me or has seen anything, that is number one of the biggest defining moments in my life was taking bold for the first time in October of 2010. So you're a huge part of my story. And then that's
2010. I think back as like, and I look, I've seen what the bold coaches do now and how they deliver this material that, back then it was like, we'd get the material and the latest revision on a Thursday that we were delivering on a Monday.
Yeah.
I look at where they are now, and it's like, wow, they've got this down to just a master craft of the way it's delivered. So it's amazing.
Well, it is okay because I've taken it, 14 more times since then. So
now you know the material probably better than me.
I got it. I still love it. And the other piece of that story that I tell a lot of times is that after Bold, I had instant trajectory in business. Remember, my production went from 23 units to 51 units from 2010 to 2011. And
Yeah.
that February, it was starting to fade after Bold ended. And I ran into you at family reunion in the MAPS area. And you did a little sly talking and got me signed up for coaching.
Anaheim, California.
Yeah. And back then I had a little fear. So I started with the breakthrough coaching. And then I quickly realized that for the value and time and how much I was getting out of our 30-minute calls 2 times a month, I quickly stepped it up. Also, so I could go to Vegas with you. We could all hang out, right?
Well, your story is so cool because it's, in every situation, there are 3 things that people, that are happening at all given times. And it's the first one is what we focus on. And the second one is, what we choose to make it mean. We're masters at creating meaning. And Tony Robbins says, you master meaning, you master your life. And it's like that pivotal moment in the middle. And then the third decision is, what you choose to do based on that meaning. And I still remember that bold class of, it's like, all right, great. What does it mean to call people that you know? Well, I don't want to bug them, common myth understanding or misconception or, limited belief. I don't want to call people I know. I don't want to bug them. I think the worst that I ever heard was, calling people that I know is like begging for money. And I'm like, okay, well, wouldn't you who else would be a better fiduciary, a better advocate for calling those folks that you know other than you? Well, no one. You're not willing to do that. And it's like, so what are you focusing on? Good, bad, indifferent. What does it mean? So calling people is a bad thing. You're bugging them. You're borrowing for money, or calling people. And I remember you said, once upon a time, it's like one point, well, I don't want to bug them. Short amount of time later, it's like, oh my God, people love to be touched. And I'll never forget that affirmation you said when I was like, well, what's your experience now calling these people? Oh my God, they love to be touched. Nothing changed. It's the same physical tool. We're still using the phone. We're still dialing numbers. We're still doing all of these activities. And the only pivotal moment or change is it went from meaning one thing and now it means something else. And your decision-making process is totally different.
That is absolutely true. How the thoughts we associate to it. I love what I've heard through all of the coaching which is, what you think about me is none of my business. I mean, I think if you say that to yourself every single day, you'll do a lot more and be more productive, right?
Exactly. Well, I can't control it anyway. I mean, you can love me, you can hate me, you can subscribe, you can unsubscribe, and at the end of the day, I go to bed. I've got 3 amazing kids and an amazing, beautiful wife, and I go to bed saying, no, look, I did the greatest I could do today, and what you thought of me is none of my business. I can't control it anyway.
Yeah.
So,
well, that I have taken up too much time because this is all about you, and I appreciate your time. And you not only are a MAPS coach, you have a lot of different background and studies in learning how to be a great coach. So first and foremost, why did you get into being a coach? You were a real estate agent at one time.
I got into real estate in 2003, and then I had an opportunity. I loved, it was always great to go get a listing. And then it was really neat when a new agent came on board, you would spend the day and they'd shadow you and you go show houses and, or take them on a listing and they'd never done it before. And then, they run into your office at some point in time, say, oh my God, I took a listing. I was like, that was really, really cool experience. And for those who have ever done any kind of coaching or mentoring, you know that experience of seeing the success through other people. It's like leading a team. And so I was privileged and got the opportunity to come be a team leader actually in Oklahoma. And I did that for a year. And then I was really blessed. Nobody succeeds alone. And I was really blessed that an amazing lady that we all know and love, Mo Anderson, introduced me to another amazing lady named Diana Kokoska. And that was around 2009 when Diana was writing bold. And Mo introduced me. I went down there and I auditioned and pretty much did everything wrong. And as Gary said, she fell forward. And, she still gave me the opportunity. She saw something in me and said, it's pretty raw and it's worth working on. And I still say, you know what, that lady said yes to me at one point, and the rest kind of history. I was in 2009, and in 2012 I started coaching agents one-to-one and quickly grew that full time. I loved the one-to-one interaction with people and watching their business grow. And I had a really weird relationship with Bull. You fly in, you deliver this amazing program for 8, now 7 weeks, and then you fly out. And I was like, well, what happened to these incredible people that I was so blessed to know? I want to be part of their long-term journey. And that kind of took us where we are, and that we've spent the last year and a half, because that journey has led us to, observations around agents. I've been part of an agent's business and been their partner for years, and I've watched their income go, where they're making 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, in some cases, rare occasions, netting $1 million. And, then I look at, great, what have you accumulated? What do you have left? And I started noticing some trends that were just really, really frightening. And the more me personally, the more I uncovered, the more the story kind of gets a little scarier. I coached some folks that lost everything in the first shift. And then Gary's been talking about, the next shift coming, and, he's been talking about that for a few years. And just like the last shift, for the first couple of years when he was talking about this can't last, this won't last, it fell on a lot of deaf ears. I remember a $12 million producer at the time, it was number one in her market, walking out of MegaCamp the year that book was written. And I said, where are you going? And she said, well, this isn't applicable to us. This isn't our market. She's no longer in real estate. I know that person. And so all of a sudden this gradually then suddenly happened. And for those who weren't financially insulated to weather the storm, were never able to last, let alone take advantage of it. So now we've seen this marketplace, and although it's a changing shift, it's a competitive shift for talent, for business, it's a technology shift, it's an industry shift, it's an economic shift, all happening at the same time. It's like the perfect storm, only you don't have Mark Wahlberg to look at. And as that's happening, I'm looking at business saying, okay, well, the single greatest insulator you have today is money to weather the storm. And if you have enough of it, you're going to be able to take advantage of this like never before. I remember when Dave Jensen looked for my shift book, and there's a quote that I've got written when they did the tour on this. Dave came to Oklahoma, and I watched him talk about the writing of the book. He said, shifts cause the greatest redistribution of wealth in our country. I'll never forget that statement because I sat there thinking, And this was in 2008. They'd written the book, and it hadn't happened yet. The banks hadn't folded, Countrywide was still around, the Big Short hadn't occurred, and all of those things, they were in motion, and it was already too late to stop it. Yet it wasn't felt on a national level. And then it happened, and then there was the aftermath. So going into this next shift, so I think one of the greatest tragedies that we have as coaches, as partners, and as entrepreneurs is we can learn a lot about how to make an incredible amount of money. But if we don't teach and learn ourselves what to do with it and how to keep it and how to make more of it on it, have it build on itself, it's also one of the greatest tragedies I've seen.
Well, we've been talking about it, and let's just make sure everyone understands what we're really talking about here is you have a coaching program that's about to launch called the Master the Path of Money.
Yes.
And so with this coaching program, you're going to go through all of these myths and help us agents who sometimes are acting more like a real estate agent versus a business person. Mm-hmm. You're going to help walk them through how to actually be successful with money.
Well, and here's the fascinating part is you notice first it's called Master the Path of Money, not Mastered the Path of Money. Yeah. So this is a journey we're all on regardless of where you are. I'm not going to show up and say, hey, I'm your guru. I've got this figured out. Because what I do today, I could screw up tomorrow. And it's just that easy. You learn, you're constantly evolving. What I notice about money and what really started was a few years ago matter of fact, in Anaheim once again, it's like my place, is Gary got on stage and he was talking about, the conversation he had with Dave Ramsey. And many of us followed and read his material. And he said, we had some financial disagreements on the Millionaire real estate investor versus, Financial Peace University. And I said, well, why don't we have something internally where we're teaching our own principles, our own models and systems around money and offering, a way to financially increase literacy and teach people how to be better business owners so they keep more of what they earn at the end of the day. And I said, well, where am I in that, in that journey myself? So I came back from there. I enrolled in Boston University's Certified Financial Planner program and started taking the course for there. And then I spent like $5,000 on tuition, started diving into the material, going through the courses. And then somewhere I discovered, I said, okay, well, it's a 10-hour exam to become a CFP. I'm like, okay, well, that's never going to happen. So I'll just do the education and I'll have to be good enough because I just don't see sitting there for 10 hours. And Dave Ramsey opened up a coaching program where you could become a certified master, it's the longest title in the world, certified Ramsey Master Financial Solutions coach last year. So I went through that program as well and said, okay. So I just started reading everything I could get my hands on, everything around Buffett. I mean, I've got a stack of books I'll show you before we're done here of everything that we went through on the research and said, okay, well, let's write our own material based on MREI, based on all of our material, based on everything that we can find that's out there. And let's put it into, a basic 8-week course. And then let's continue this journey together because you go on social media and I saw a post the other day and it cracked me up. Somebody said, hire me or don't, pick one. I don't care. And I was like, I love that. And she went on to say, she said, it's like, some days you're smiling and you're happy and other days you just want to throat punch somebody. And it's like, yes, because you get on social media, all you see is, oh, so everybody is on the miracle morning. Everybody gets up and works out. Everybody's on the keto or the fat 30 diet. I'm like, if that's the case, why are there so many people that are obese and look like they're really,
yeah,
worn hard at the end of the day? And it's like, well, there's this image, and you see on social media the things. It's like, okay, I've seen people, and you see this. You see people share illness. You see people share challenges, tragedies, loves, triumphs, and some of the darkest things is like, losing those loved ones and going through illnesses themselves. And when was the last time you saw somebody get on there and say, I'm broke? So we haven't reached that pinnacle of transparency and vulnerability that says, I need a tribe to figure this out. I need to be part of a community where we all understand we're on this financial journey together versus I got to figure it out. I made $1 million last year. I didn't keep any of it. I'm broke. But let me talk about how I'm losing 20 pounds and I got a great physique. We can talk about everything. We don't talk about money. Money is still that taboo topic that we're not quite ready to be vulnerable enough. So it's like, whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, or you're flat broke and penniless, let's get on this journey together, and let's be a resource in a community and build a tribe of changing financial lives.
What do you think that comes from, as most of us get into real estate and we're not really necessarily business people yet? We learn quickly that we need to become one, and still what seems more important at the time is helping that buyer find that perfect house, negotiating repair allowance inside of a contract. Those things that eat up all of our day, our mindset, our energy. And when we get to the end of the day or the end of the week, we're just done. And I can't even look at that. I mean, I live this life, and I have lived this life. I know this life. So I'm speaking for myself and all my other friends that are out there. So what is our challenge with all of this, and how can we change it?
Great. That's a phenomenal question. Something Gary said at his mastermind, the last day of family reunion, he said, I pick my profit, not my production. And he was talking to his group.
Say it again, and it's a profit, not the money.
He said, I pick my profit, not my production. He said, the thing about this company is, he said, a lot of you are famous, not rich. And, that's like the hidden secret. Units, production, volume, gross, GCI, all of these great things, perfect. It's like I sit there in the stands and with no judgment. And again, we're all on this, to some degree of this journey financially. It's like I sit in the stand saying, what's your net? Because what do you keep? And, I've been privileged to work and coach some agents that it's like, their numbers will probably never justify them being on stage. Yet when I look at their financial wherewithal and their net worth statement, it's like I put them against anybody, because they've created a perpetual motion machine that now their money's making money. Their assets are making money. Their portfolio is making dividends or returns and cash flowing. And these are the unsung heroes that you're never going to hear about. They're not famous. They're rich. Choose. Yeah. You can't be both is the point. Yeah. You got to pick one or the other while you're on that journey. If you become rich, there's a high probability you'll become famous. But if you become famous, you don't necessarily get to be rich at the same time. I think they kind of go in that journey. And when we're willing to be vulnerable enough and transparent, saying I don't have it figured out. That's why I would join the Master Path of Money and participate in programs like that, and you get around other people. Say, look, I don't have it figured out. I'm as screwed up as the rest of it. But I'd like to learn this and get better along the process.
All right, so let's get some action items going from our session here today. This is how you would always end with me. We needed to make sure that we are committed to whatever we're going to do next. What would you say would be some things that people watching can do today to get clarity around their numbers, their real business, that it's not overwhelming?
Great questions. Forbes recently printed an article called like 10 Great Habits of Money. We just did a webinar on that. And one of the very first things is build a habit of visiting your money every single day, if not multiple times a day. We are on our Crackberries and our phones all the time, and, just checking it. Yeah. Great. How often do you just look at your money? How often do you visit your bank accounts and say, great, are all my friends still there? And start that habit. Just start visiting your money every single day. The other thing is start once a week and visit your net worth. Because, just seeing your net worth and the decisions that you make and how it affects your overall net worth. Great. I go buy a brand new car. Well, that looks really great to everyone. And now you drive the, $100,000 vehicle, and, you drive it off a lot, and you say, well, big hat, no cattle. And what did that ultimately do to your net worth? Did it go up or did it go down? And those are two, I'd say, the very first things that are really pivotal if you want to learn how to master the path of money, is start looking at it. It's like anything else. You want to have a great relationship with someone, spend more time with them. You want to have a great relationship with something like money, spend more time with it. Study it.
Wow. What else is really something that should be stated here today that you can get across, because you have the time that you've put into all these mega agents and teams. You've lived with them. When you're a coach with someone, you are their partner in their business. So what either are mistakes that we keep making and you wish that you could just shake us and we'd stop doing that, or things that we're doing all right and we should keep up?
Well, the great question. The big one is stop complicating your profit and loss statements. Think Crayola, not calligraphy, simple. And it can be on a sheet of paper, a napkin. It's what did you make? What did you spend? What's left over? That's a profit and loss statement. We get really wrapped up in tools, and it's QuickBooks, it's Quicken, it's Mint, it's all of these things, it's spreadsheets, and who draws. It's as simple as, okay, how many commission checks did you get? Okay, look at your bank statements or your credit card statements, add them up. What did you spend? And let's figure out, is there a profit there? And then begin making your decisions based around that. This is, money is one of those things. It's like the longer you avoid talking about it, the worse the problem becomes. And the more time you spend with it, the better relationship you're going to have. So, dig in, make that commitment that I'm going to learn profit and loss. Take Master the Path of Money. Let's build a community together. Be part of this. And we take you through some of these processes of looking at your own profit and loss statement. Say, okay, well, if you intend to net more, start with that as a goal. I can't say that enough times. Focus on your profit, not your production. And that number, should I go take another listing? Should I make a call? Should I leverage this out? Should I add this, subtract this? And I would say, rainmakers are notorious, and they're great at doing things that can grow their business. But where we could be better is on an allowance. Is if you get, no matter what you make, if you only had 10% to spend on marketing and lead generation, that's all you get. If you blow that whole amount of money on fancy photography and great virtual tours and all of that, and don't have anything left, well, that's how you used it. That was marketing. If it didn't return you money and it didn't bring in leads, well, then it was crappy marketing. It was marketing. You only get 10% for staffing. That's the other one. It's, the latest MREA numbers and the revisions, and, they have us ranging anywhere between 15 to 18%. Depending upon where you are. I've seen it as high as 22. I've seen it as low as 13. So that number varies depending upon where you are in that, as Gary says, the messy middle. But that's all you get. If you need additional people, figure it out, suck it up, top grade, do it yourself. But you only get X number of dollars to spend on staffing, go virtual, do whatever it takes, but stop dipping into your profitability as a result of your want or your don't want to do things.
Ouch.
I was going to say, at this point in time, people have screw this. Where's the unsubscribe, unfriend button here?
Hey, one more thing I want you to share, because it has stuck with me over the years, and I've shared it over and over again. And you said to me one time something, and I'm going to just tee you up, and you have to just figure out what it was, about if I had a board of directors.
If you had a board of directors?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
What would you have said about how would my board of directors evaluate
the thing is, if you had a board of directors, or more importantly, I think really my deal is is shareholders. If you had sold stock in your company, think about what makes your company investable and what makes it. Why would somebody say, no, I'm not investing in that company? And in your company, think shareholders or your board of directors, they would demand a return on investment. When I invest in a company or when I invest in real estate, and my wife and I are iBuyers, and, we've been doing that for years. And when I invest in something, I know I'm a pain in the ass, and I know I'm a challenge to be in business with. There's that I demand a return on investment. That's what makes it an investment. I look at my TD Ameritrades and my Betterments and my Acorns. I look at those every single day, if not multiple times a day, to see what's happening in these companies. And if a lot of real estate agents had shareholders, I wonder how many of them would keep their jobs as the CEO, because your job is one thing, drive profit. And those shareholders have a certain expectation to get a return on what they invest in your company. And total random, watch Shark Tank. You want to really know how business people think and how investors think, is watch Shark Tank. If somebody like a Mark Cuban or, Lori Greiner were going to buy into your company, would you be able to behave the same way financially if somebody like that were watching your books?
And it's so non-emotional for them. You are a good investment or you're not a good investment, and I'm out. I mean, like, we don't treat our own teams or businesses like that. And that was exactly, you got it right. You got the answer right. That was the answer. You asked me if I had a board of directors, would I be fired from my lack of performance, either with profit, showing up and lead generating and bringing in business? And the answer was, I would absolutely be fired. I would have been fired 10 years ago.
Well, and I'm so glad you said that, because things like masterminds and those events and those things, it's CEOs getting together. And I want you to think about Master the Path of Money is it's rainmakers, it's CEOs getting together saying, look, I don't have to figure it out, but let's talk about driving profit. Let's talk about holding our money accountable. Let's talk about being tough on money, and let's talk about growing reserves and doing things. So later, you can have even more money that grows upon itself, and you're really becoming a phenomenal business person. That's the whole goal behind this.
And I guess I should probably sign up for your class. All
you can
right.
go to www.masterthepathofmoney, or actually masterthepath.com. www.masterthepath.com. You can also go to mapscoaching.com in the groups, and you can sign up. It launches March 22nd. It's a great journey. We followed up the Facebook Live. Once you're part of that community, you always be part of that community. Yeah. And the material is always changing, and it's just, we're just keeping up with things. I think it's a big topic right now. Ben Kenny and I have talked a lot, and books that he's recommended and just things. And him and Chris Suarez have been doing things on growth around money. And I know Adam Hergenrother has done some things. So it's becoming a really valuable topic. And I think a big reason is those of us who have been here for a long time, we see what's coming. And as I said it before, single grace insulator you have from this thing that we know is coming ahead is what you do with money and what you keep at the end of the day. So I so appreciate you having me today.
And then what we give, right? Isn't that our new fourth is
think $1 million, earn $1 million, net $1 million, receive $1 million, and give $1 million.
Yeah. So that is the goal. Well, I am so proud of you. I love watching all your success through the years. And I just want to say I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I look forward to, I guess I'm going to sign up now, so I'll hang up and do that.
Well, I'll see you March 22nd.
Hey, if you guys need anything from me or you need to get in touch with Dru, what's the best way people can connect with you if they have questions?
You can either email me at Coach DRULEE at Gmail, Coach Dru Lee at gmail.com, or you can just call me 405-837-1693.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. If you guys need me, I'm at 918-706-9845. Bye.